Hola Beauties and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a very special kind of video, and before anybody asks, yes, this is my natural hair, because every time I wear my hair like this I get questions. But anyway, that's besides the point. Today's video is kind of a special video. If you guys remember on Tuesday's video, I asked you if you would like to see me perform a piece. Nobody responded on my YouTube, but I did put a poll up on Instagram, and on Instagram you guys voted, as you can see. By the way, if you are not following me on Instagram, make sure you go ahead and just do that. Just do that right there. That's the name. Thank you. So without further ado, we are gonna get right into today's video. I'm gonna try to keep this short because it's gonna be a little bit of a long one today. All right, let's go, beauties. Ships at a distance have every man's wish on board. For some, they come in with the tide. For others, they sail forever on the horizon, never out of sight, never landing until the watcher turns his eye away in resignation. The dreams mocked to death by time. You see that? That's the life of men. Now women remember all those things we don't want to forget, and forget everything we don't want to remember. The dream is the truth, and then we act and do things accordingly. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "It is not like a friendship that makes an unhappy marriage." As a woman who's experienced multiple marriages, Jenny Crawford understands the sorrow, anger, and frustration that comes when a marriage fails. This fuels her power and evolution throughout her life in Their Eyes Are Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Seeing the woman as she was made them remember all the envy they had stored up from other times. The men noticed her firm buttocks like she had grapefruits riding in her hip pockets, the long rope of great black hair that unraveled in the wind and swung at her waist, and her pugnacious breast. You see, the men, were saving with the mind what they had lost with the eye. The women took her faded t-shirt and muddy overalls and laid them away for remembrance as a weapon against her strength. But nobody moved, nobody spoke, nobody thought to swallow spit until that gate slammed firmly behind her. What's she doing coming back here in them overalls? Ain't she got no dress to put on? Where that young lad of a boy she left you with? I thought she was gonna marry. Where she done left him at? No, where he left her. I bet he off with a gal so young, she ain't even got no hairs. Why don't she stay in her class? Child, she ain't even worth talking after. I leaned forward in my rocking chair before I spoke. Now, I'm Jane's best friend, and I don't know all her business. Y'all makes me tired. The way you're talking, think the folks in this town don't do nothing in the bed except praise the Lord. Now, you have to excuse me because I'm bound to go take her some supper. I hurried over with a covered dish in my hand, and I found Janie sitting on the steps of her back porch. Hello, Janie. How you coming? Oh, I'm all right. Just trying to soak some of the dirt and tiredness out my feet, that's all. I see you is, girl. You sure looks good. You look like you can be your own daughter. Even in them overalls, you still shows your womanhood. Oh, I take the flattery off it, Phoebe, because I know you mean it from the heart. Good Lord, Phoebe, you ever gonna give me some of them little rations you brought me? I ain't had a thing on my stomach today except my hand. Give it here and have a seat. Is Sam waiting on you for his supper? It's ready and waiting. If he ain't got sense enough to eat it, well, that's his hard luck. Well, good. We can sit right here where we is and talk. Now, I know exactly what I want to tell you, Phoebe, but, well, it's hard to know where to start at. I was 16 when I met Johnny Taylor. He was tall and lean. He was my first kiss. My nanny saw what we was doing, and she said if I was grown enough to be kissing, I was grown enough to be married. She arranged for me and this old man, Mr. Logan Killix, to be married. Logan and I got married in Granite's Parlor on that Saturday. Before the year was up, I noticed that Logan had stopped talking in rhymes to me. Said that I done been spoiled rotten. One day I was out in the barn peeling potatoes when I heard this whistling come from up the road. It was this citified, stylish dressed man. Joe Starks was his name. He said he was on his way to Florida because he heard they was making a town out of all colored folks, and, well, He knows that's the place he wanted to be. We managed to meet every day at the scrub oaks across the road and talk. One night I woke Logan from his sleep to talk to him. I said, supposing I was to run off and leave you. There, I had put words into his most held-in fears. I might run off, sure enough, but the thought put a terrible ache in Logan's body, but he figured it'd be better if he put on some scorn instead. He said he was getting sleepy and that he didn't want to talk no more. The next morning, the road air felt like a new dress. I went to where Joe was waiting for me, and we was married before sundown. It was early in the afternoon when we arrived in Florida, so Joe said we should walk the place over. He found out they ain't have no mayor, so he figured it should be him. And he was successful in doing so. A few months passed, and I start to get a feeling of coldness. I am no longer a petal open to Joe. I was 27 and 9 years married when I knew. I found that out on the day that Joe slapped me across my face. He slapped me till I had a ringing in my ear. And I just stood there where he left me in that kitchen. I stood there for uncensored time, and I thought. I stood there till something fell off the shelf inside me, and when I looked inside to see what it was an image of Joe, all shattered and torn up. Maybe he ain't nothing, but he's something to me. He's got to be, or else I ain't got no reason to live. Those long, abusive years took a lot of fight out of me. Then one day, this tall man came into the parlor. I know that I ain't know his name, but he looked familiar. We started talking, and next thing I know, we was playing checkers. He set it up and he showed me how, and I found myself glowing inside. Somebody actually wanted me to play. That it'd be natural for me to play. And I say, you sure is something else, Mr. Tea Cake. He interrupted me. I say, Tea Cake, is you as sweet as all that? We joked well into closing time. The next night when I mounted the stairs, the teacher was there before I was, waiting for me with a string of trap. He said he'd clean him if I fry him, so we ate. Then he went over to the piano without so much as asking and started playing the blues and singing and throwing grins over his shoulder. The sound lulled me to sleep. I woke up to Tea Cake combing my hair. Well, that just made me more drowsy and comfortable. The next morning, I awoke to Tea Cake almost kissing my breath away. He was holding me and caressing me as if he feared I might fly away. A few months passed and daylight was creeping all around the world when I heard a rumbling at the door. I opened the door to find Tea Cake looking like he was sleeping standing up. I grabbed his arms to try to help him, and he just fell into the room. And I say, Tea Cake, what's the matter now, honey? And he told me he'd been robbed. He said he wasn't cut but twice, and that I had to look him over and help him to a certain extent. He told me not to call a doctor unless it got much worse, and he said that he'd be better in a day or two. I painted iodine on his wounds, and I cried my eyes out. That was the meanest moment in eternity. Just a minute before, he was just a scared human being fighting for his life, and now Tea Cake head lies in my lap. I had wanted him to live so much, but he was dead. I held his head tightly to my breast and I wept. I had to hold him tight, for soon he would be gone, and I had to let him know for the last time that I loved him. Then the grief of outer darkness descended. Now that's how everything was, Phoebe, just like I told you. And I know them old hens over yonder gonna wear their guts to fiddle strings so they find out what we've been talking about. You can go and tell them, Phoebe. They gonna be mad because my love didn't work like they love. They even had any. But you make sure you tell them this. Love ain't nothing like a grindstone that's the same everywhere you go and do the same thing to everything it touch. Love is like the sea. It's a moving thing, and it takes the form of every shore it meets, and well, it's different with every shore. I hope you guys enjoyed that performance. I know that this video is pretty long. Hopefully I won't have any issues uploading it. But this is just a little piece of what I do. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know, I'm gonna have my little subscribe bell right here while I'm talking to you guys. If you did not check out last week's video, obviously it's gonna be right over here. I almost did the wrong spot. It's gonna be right over here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys. Love you. Remember to stay beautiful and stay positive.